everybody, my name is Tommy, and today we will continue our next history lesson. Are you ready to travel back in time with me when the colonists were still there? Okay, so let's travel back in time. But before that, let's look at our states in America one more time. So in America, you see here on the on the west part of America, we have Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, Petersburg, Chicago, and Detroit. Those are the ones that we have learned. Now, let's move to another one. That one is called Ottawa. Say it again, Ottawa. Next is Miami. Read that word? Miami. Then Dallas and Houston. You probably knew them already. Next on the east. On the east, the ones that we have learned, we have Hollywood, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Now we'll learn more. First one is Las Vegas. Las Vegas is down in the southeast. And next up here, we have Seattle. It is in the northeast. So those are some of the states that you need to learn more. Now let's travel back in time and see what the life of the colonists were like. So do you know the life of the colonists? They were the settlers who traveled from Europe. Though the settlers on the ship of Christopher Columbus, there were also strangers. The strangers were the ones that learned and found new lives and went for hunting and adventure, also from Europe and Holland. So in the last lesson, we have learned about the colonists and the strangers. The settlers and the strangers, or called the colonists, have traveled to Holland. Holland, so this is Europe, and they have gone somewhere through the Atlantic Ocean to Holland. They stayed there, but now the kids of the native Europeans or the European settlers were forgetting that they were Dutch. So they moved to the United States of America. Life was very hard in America. They could not grow crops for a whole winter. But a Native American tribe came and helped them grow crops. So they were prepared for the next winter more than they were for the first winter. So now we're going to talk about the life at the United States of America. The settlers have learned to build their houses, plant crops, and hunt down animals. They could shoot many animals and eat others as well. They could shoot many animals and eat other animals as well. Moreover, they have also learned to make the things that we usually use today and is in our book, paper. So, paper. Next of all, the colonists, the settlers that have traveled to the United States of America didn't have much danger when they were in there, more than they were in Europe. This was because that the United States of America churches were free. They do not have to follow a religion that this country. They do not have to follow a religion that the country or continent follows. They could follow anyone. They could follow Jesus, follow Buddha, and other places. But But in Europe, they can only follow one religion, like the Buddhism. Also, they also learned to make things out of stone. So this was the first time they used stone tools. Still, they had rifles and guns and crossbows to hunt. Now, after you have listened to this, please open your Our America book to page 15 and read page 15, 14 and 15. Native Americans. Before the New World was discovered, there were people living all across America. Who were these first Americans? If you guessed Indians, you're right. You have also heard the name of Native Americans, because the word native means original home. One way to describe the people who lived in America first is Native Americans. America has always been their home. Native American tribes had their own languages. Many had their own special way of building homes and providing food for their people. Let's learn more about America. In the Northeast, the Native Americans of the Northeast were farmers. They planted crops of corn, beans, squash, and pumpkins. They were also good hunters. They used bows and arrows to hunt for deer and wild turkeys. Many of them lived in wigwams. Have you heard of them? Many of them lived in wigwams. Wigwams are long houses. Wigwams were rounded wooden buildings covered with bark or woven mats. Longhouses were built like wigwams, but they were much longer. They might be 100 feet long. Several families might live in a longhouse. These were the Indians that the Pilgrims knew. In the Southeast, some Native Americans lived in buildings with thatched roofs, open sides, and raised floors. These houses were called chickees. Other tribes live in a small house, like a log cabin covered with bark and mud. Here's something to try. Weave a mat. What do you need? 12 1-inch construction paper What do you need? 12 1-inch construction paper strips. 2 different colors will help the design. Masking tape. Lay 6 strips on your desk. Tape them down at the top. Lay 6 strips on your desk. Tape them down at the top. Weave the remaining paper strips in an over and under pattern. Tape down the remaining edges. Carefully lift and turn over the mat to tape the edges again. Trim the extra tape and paper to make a neat mat. The Southeast. Many Native Americans of the Southeast lived in pueblos. Say it again. Pueblo. Which are houses cut of rock or built from rocks. They may also be made from clay and straw. These homes worked well in warm and dry areas. Pueblo houses were often joined together. They may be several stories high, and many families lived there. Others lived in hogans. They were made with wooden poles and covered with tree bark or grass and mud. The doorway of a hogan always faced east so they could catch the morning sun. The Indians were skilled craftsmen and made beautiful jewelry from silver or turquoise. They also wove baskets. And then in the Northwest, the Native Americans of the Northwest were very good at fishing. They caught salmon and trout from rivers. From the ocean, they caught whales and seals. They lived in the woods and hunted animals such as elk, deer, and bear. They also collected nuts and berries. During the spring and summer, these Indians found enough food to last them through the winter. They became very skillful in working with wood. They made canoes and beautiful boxes. Their homes were also made of wood. Have you ever seen a totem pole? These carvings were made by the Northwest Indians. And here is a map of all the things that you could see. These were the Pueblo houses. These were the Chiquis. These were the Hogans. This is also a Hogan. This is a longhouse. And this is a teepee. Did you know very few Native Americans lived in teepees? Teepees were mostly used by the Plain Indians when they went on their hunting trip. The teepees were used like tents, but they could be set up quickly at night and taken down in the morning. Can you name these Native Americans' dwellings in the region of the country? At first, there were only Native Americans living in America. Then people from other countries heard about the New World. Soon many people came to this land. Some came for freedom of worship. Some came to work. Some came to own their own land. Some came for riches. And some came for adventure. As you see, there were many reasons why people left their homes to come to America. A brand new land awaited them. Okay, so it is the end, and see you next time with the next video talking about the separatists.